when we read the gospel story, and that's what it is, it's just a story, but there's all kinds of intriguing information, clues, subtle intuitions hidden inside the Gospels. And like the temptation of Christ, it's a curious legend. There were 3 temptations, and they're very curious. One was the devil showed the kingdoms of the earth, and he said you can be the ruler of the world. The other temptation was throw yourself down from the mountain, but angels will lift you up. And the third one, curious isn't it, is change stone into bread. And they seem a little mysterious, especially the last one, until you read deeper into the Gospels and you find Jesus had 3 enemies. When you go through the Gospel, he's always criticizing 3 people. And like when he went to the temple, we'll do that later, he would always criticizing the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the religious authorities. So, the synagogue experts, the rabbis, well, so that's religious in nature, and that would correspond to the temptation of throw yourself down, jump from a great height, and angels will bear you up, proving his religious power. And yet Jesus said no to that temptation, and himself always contradicted the religious authorities in Israel at that time. The other one he is always criticizing was the Romans, the Roman soldiers, the Roman Empire, Caesar, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's and unto God what's God's. Well, that corresponds to the temptation where he was shown all the kingdoms of the world, ruled over by the Roman Empire. And he said no to the temptation and also criticized the Roman Empire and the soldiers and the Roman governor, so we can see that temptation was about worldly power. Now, the third temptation, a little curious, turn bread into stone, until we identify, well, who was the third group that Jesus would criticize? And if you remember, when he went to the temple near the end, he kicked over the table of the money changers. That's the financial system, the tax collectors. Money. So, and turn bread into stone means dead physical matter become productive, become wheat, become, bread, food, nutrition. And so it's money, it's the productive economy. It's material resource. From a dead stone comes productive resource, bread, nutrition. And Jesus said no again. And what did he do? He criticized the money changers and kicked over their table. So the 3 groups that Jesus criticized through his ministry are also the 3 temptations that he resisted. Money, bread into stone, religious power, the angels bear you up, and mundane worldly power, the kings, the emperors, the Romans. Well, today, actually, we still have the 3 centres of evil, of corrupt power. And the Roman Empire that Jesus criticised, that would correspond to the Pentagon, the American Empire today, with its soldiers in something like 150 countries around the world, 700 military bases. It's an empire. It's the equivalent of Rome. But Jesus resisted that temptation, which means that the Pentagon and the American military system is something that Jesus disapproved of, and he criticised it. The religious authority today would be primarily the Vatican. So the Vatican today would correspond to the Pharisees and Sadducees in Jesus' time. And the Vatican, of course, is a city-state inside Rome, just as Washington is a city-state inside America. And the third city-state, there's only 3 in the world, the third city-state is the City of London, the Square Mile, the banking centre of the world, which corresponds to the third temptation of Christ, turning bread into stone. I give you the world's resources, money basically, and you can tax the productive economy through fractional reserve banking and tax. The parasitic exploitation of the working masses, who are the productive economy. So it's very strange. You have these the 3 temptations correspond to the 3 groups that Jesus criticised, and they also, all of them, correspond to the 3 city-states in the world today. Washington, military power; Vatican, religious power; and City of London / Wall Street, which is financial power. So these 3 city-states are really anti-Christian, and Jesus resisted them. So they're kind of controlled by the devil, because he offered them, which means that he must own them to be able to give them away to Jesus. So that means the Vatican is satanic. The Pentagon and America's military machine is satanic. And banking, the fractional reserve system, is satanic. And through these 3 centres, the devil controls the whole world. They are his medium, his conduit, his agency through which he dominates human society, the military, money, and religion. And so the devil is very much in control in our world. Although he's invisible, he's doing it through these 3 systems: banking, military, and religion. And Jesus was that very, very rare individual, maybe unique, who could actually resist all 3. And although he set the example, it's difficult for us to be free of those systems, to exonerate ourselves, liberate ourselves in the way Jesus did. We're more easily tempted and we find it hard to get free of the evil system that control society.